Okay, so this is Arkansas Country Classic 24 that we're talking about this. So what we're really talking about is in so much of your two-step, the use of toe instead of ball, because anywhere that I use ball, I'm in a nice neutral posture, but I'm not in a posture about taking command of the situation. What we talked about was the idea that this is based on trains, and the people who built the trains were taking command of their world. They were going faster than a horse would go. Or guys doing rodeo, they're taking command of their world if they're doing that. So if I go to toe, I'm putting myself in a much more forward place. Now that shifts my weight, which means most of my weight's on the standing leg. So we talked about using toe in so many places where we were just using ball before. Ball was fine, it just results in a much more neutral posture idea than a forward posture idea. So we talked about toe. First place we talked about it was in the regular samba catches, so here. Okay, and I'm allowing that every time I do a samba catch, I'm allowing a toe to bounce her. Now we changed the forward just a little bit, okay, to allow the gentleman to move across more, because that's what Noah said, was that the footwork needed to move across. So actually, instead of going forward, we're allowing him to cross behind with the toe. He still stays very forward. He lets the hip unwind, and then he brings the side forward now, because in the choreography we had same hand catches instead of reverse. So he went to here. And now we're at the same place. This is a toe. I come behind on this. I allow the hip to unwind. And now I come through in full weight. Toe, unwind, full weight. Toe, unwind, full weight. Those were our forward samba catches. Then we talked about the footwork, the little footwork section. Same thing in the little footwork section was on the side rocks facing the lady. Part of it was the locks first. In the locks, same thing. My weight from the side should be forward and then a toe instead of forward and ball. But really the bigger problem was, if you look at it from the front, the thing about anything that locks is, here's all my weight, here's my toe. Now every time I move that toe behind, I actually am moving the hip to a new place. So now this leg needs to unwind so that the leg is now under the hip where it goes, okay? And so the problem was coming into that footwork section that we were starting to lock, this was good, and they were still a bit occluded in the legs. Now the test for this in the studio is if you can bend both of your knees and they ram into each other, you didn't go far enough. If I release this far enough and it's in the right place, both of my knees have a track. So that's my test to know if I allowed this foot to go as far as it needs to go. And then that was the key for the next footwork section. All that was happening was on the next footwork section, we were already locked a little bit and sort of spending the footwork section becoming unlocked. Now we did talk about this forward check. I'm gonna dance this forward check. This was kind of an exception. My weight's very far forward over the right foot. And when I do this, I'm gonna present the left ball and dance it as a ball flat, but keep my weight forward. So from the side, we're here, you have check. In this particular case, I don't want to do toe, it'll pitch me back, but I also don't want to go forward, because in this particular case, it's going to end up back weighting me. I can't be as powerful. So I'm forward over this foot, but here's the command, yeah, da. And then with those changes, it means that when we get into the side rocks for the changes of direction, the legs are moving much more freely, but we did say I need to move the hip, and that's been the theme of a lot of this. Allow the hip to move the foot. When we work footwork to start with, we always think about where our feet are going, but the fact is we need the body to move the foot. So a lot of today was about using the hip to move the foot. So I'm gonna face her and side rock, and because I allow the hip to get me there, I rebound right out. And again, this was another place, and I know there's more footwork in the middle, it's another place where we said toe. Even if you saw the masters do ball, there is a fine line of, if I use my ball of my foot, I get more power out of the leg, but I have to fight more inertia that takes me that way. So on a master, they might choose to go more ball because they can use more strength, and they're gonna make this more aggressive from an inertia standpoint. But if I'm trying to get really good at this footwork, I don't need any benefit. We're not at the level yet where that needs to make sense. So this just stays toe on both sides that I brought with my hip. Now, what we talked about was the last section was the walks into the back samba catches. So what we decided was Noah likes best that the lady has no swivels, so she just does quick, and then 2 swivels. We tried it both ways. That was just easier for him. And what we talked about was this same idea of toe, is that he's starting with his weight forward, and he's going to do toe, toe. And when I think about toe, I don't even think about putting another part of the foot down. And then when we get to the next two slows, he's also going to think of toe. But what's going to happen is when he takes this toe, the girl moving forward moves him onto the foot. Toe, the girl moving forward moves him onto the foot. That gives a much softer transition. It gives the girl more room, but it also means that he doesn't end up looking like he's running away from her because his weight is too far back. So this was toe, 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 let her put it down, toe, let her put it down. Then to start the back samba catches, we put the same shape in it that we had before because that was going so well. So he had toe, 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 put the foot down, toe, she puts the foot down. Now to get her started on all of these samba catches, I don't want to send my arm across my body because it works against myself. So if I pull this hip away, then she goes. Now the first time, he's taking this down a straight line. This is hip away to release, and then he's going to go toe and put this hip in the same place. But then for the rest of them, he's going to do the same footwork where I cross behind toe, unwind the hip. Now this back step is the same thing we did up there. I'm putting down toe, I'm going to let her roll me out. And then again, I have cross behind toe, let my hip unwind, put my toe back, allow her to roll me off my foot, roll me onto my foot, excuse me. Cross the toe back, unwind the hip, put the toe down, she rolls me onto my foot. Now in this, as he turns this way, this was underarm turns. If we leave it as underarm turns, what has to happen is, since he has this connection, he has to wait all the way through. Just stay in contact with her arm all the way through here. Once she passes through here, and she's forward and his arm is forward, he's going to be able to roll his arm over for the inside turn. But alternatively, since these connections are so great now, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't just do this as a free turn. And what I would do is I would actually dance this as probably a coaster with a free turn, quick, quick, slow, slow.